Hi, my name's Simon, GM8NYB. I'm continuing on with my CR100 restoration or renovation. I have now got around to doing the coil pack here, so I'll lower this so you can see it. This has got 4 sets of coils, oscillator coils, this one here. Then you've got the mixer coils. They're called the HF coil and the aerial coil. So 6 coils, 1 for each band, and the wafer switches here. And there's cables on them aren't too bad. There's the old resistors on here and some capacitors. So hopefully I'll split this one off. I'm going to do one at a time. At the front of this, these are the cables. They're all the rubber parts of it, the rubber insulated cables. I made a little, these are the drawings printed out. I've added some colours to it just to help follow the diagram here. Now, according to this, there's a black cable, 2 blues and a red and a yellow. Well, I assume that's a red. That I assume is a yellow. And there's 2 there that would have been blue, and this black one here. But I've got a set of silicon hook-up wire, silicon rubber, more modern stuff, so I shall use that to rewire them. So let's take the first coil pack off. I'm just going to do one at a time. I can slide the bar out easily enough. So it's got 4 screws here. There's one here, there's one in each corner. They're all separate, so once I get one out, I should be able to remove one little coil pack and work on it individually. I'll allow you to get the components on this side as well. So, these are self-tappers, very small self-tappers. There we go. Things are loose. I'm going to pull this shaft back here carefully. I made a note of these positions of these wafers. You basically can only go in 2 positions, 180 degrees out, but I need to get it in there. So that should now lift off. Now that is the oscillator pack. Oops, don't forget the screws. So I've got 4 screws here. Remove them. I'll put this one aside. This is the rest of the day. So these are oscillator coils, some capacitors on top. These are 7p. I'm going to have to test these somehow. My meter doesn't measure them as low as that. I'll have to find some other way, some other way of measuring it. And these are the old fashioned resistors here. I think these are the pre-standardized resistors, but they do have a colour on it. But to test these, I'm going to have to unsolder them. They're wrapped around there as well. The insulation on here, I thought it was cloth covered, but actually it's rubber underneath and then cloth over the top. Now to replace all this is quite a big job, and I think it looks very good. It's probably not necessary to replace all those cables and save a lot of work. What I will do is test these capacitors and the resistors and replace them possibly. But I think they're all mica and some ceramics, so it's not too bad. There's 1 or 2 0.1 metal canned capacitors on those other coils, which I need to replace. I'll probably put new ones inside. Right, so I shall have a look at this inspection, give it a clean up. Can't really immerse this in anything. These are paper coils, they'll just disintegrate. So I think just a little clean up with ethanol on the base. The switch looks quite not too bad. You can see my red marking on here, so I don't know where it is. two wafers there, one for the anode circuit, one for the grid circuit. I think I'm able to clean those up quite nicely with a little brush. A little stick here with something wrapped around it, and I can clean it. Right, so I'll pause that while I have a look. Don't know if you've ever seen any art programs, but art restoration programs. A lot of them, I'm not going to restore paintings, but I saw this little technique they did. I just wondered if it would work with this. They wrap a piece of cotton wool or something over there, and they obviously have fancy chemicals. I don't know what they use, but I'm just using a bit of ethanol here. Just going to see what happens. I'm going to see if I can clean the windings here. Just gently brush it. It looks shiny when it comes up. Light on it. It might work. But it doesn't need cleaning really. It's going to go inside a case, so it's never going to be seen. Clean, a bit grubby. But I can read the capacitor now. I'll do the underneath, but it has a lot of writing on it. It's like people's initials. The arrow is mine. You can see a couple of numbers on it. On that one we've got 8. Around there someone's initials. It's like a DK or a PK, and some other initials on the other bottom of the other cans there. I assume that's the people who assemble them. They're putting their own little marks on them. Clean up a little. So I'm going to continue with this. Give it a nice clean up. I removed this resistor here. This is R45. Had to take them off because to measure the resistance I need to isolate it from the coils. Now according to the manual, R45 is supposed to be about well, this actually measures 19.8k. That's 19.8k, and according to the manual it was supposed to be 20k, but they used preferred values of 22k, so it was quite within tolerance, so I could quite easily use that one again. I then looked at this one here, which is R45, sorry, R47, get it right. So this is R47, now that's supposed to be 3.3k, and it measures 4k, so that's quite a way out. This is R47 here, R45, and then the one that was on the switch here, this little one here, is R3. Now R3 is the same as, supposed to be the same as this, so that's measured 18k, and they're saying it's specified at 20k, but they use preferred values of 22k, so 18k, not quite 20, and lower than 22. So it's possible it'd be okay, but now I've disconnected them, I might as well just replace them. That'd be the easiest thing. Managed to clean up the switches a little on the outside there, and on the outside of that one there, behind the resistor there. Unfortunately, it doesn't really show up on the camera. The inside contacts are quite dirty. Now to get to the inside contacts, it looks like I'm going to have to split 2 wafers apart and I think they'll move apart. It looks like that's Loctited there, but that should come off with a nut, and I might be able to ease them out and clean them, but I think it's best to clean them because it's so deep into the radio. If I don't clean them now and then suddenly I find a problem, it's going to be really annoying. I've got the bottom nut out. Let's try and do it that way, maybe you see it better. Prop it up a little. I've got the bottom one. Screw was behind a wire, so there's a bit of a jiggle it around to get it out. But I've loosened that, so that should come off. Oops, that's the little washer. And that's the screw now out there. Now the spaces here, I think they might fall down. And yes, I'll take these spaces out. And the other two spaces are falling through anyway. There's one, the other one's in there somewhere. So I should be able to move these apart gently, and I think I can just get in there now. Not the easiest of things to do. So that I can give a clean, probably with a small toothbrush. Yeah, I think I can clean that with a toothbrush and some ethanol here. Not the easiest thing to do. That's come up shiny, brilliant. Yeah, you can't really see in there. It's an awkward angle. The mobile phone as a camera. Just catch it in there, and then I'll do that side there. I'm going to get new resistors, I think. Thinking about it now, I might as well replace all the resistors. The capacitors I've still got to look at, but if I can source new capacitors, I may just replace them. I'm glad that's it now. So that's come up okay. A bit down there. I really don't want to force them apart too much. But there's a single core wires here, so not too bad. These cables look really good, so I think I'll leave them. Right, that's what I'll do now, just to reassemble it. There's still a spacer missing in there somewhere. Right, I'll see if I can find the spacer. Now I managed to retrieve the spacer. Let's try and get it in. Let's do the first spacer. Okay, tricky, but okay. Right. Through the first spacer, through the centre, there's a little centre bar here, support. This thing here. And you can see maybe in there. There's a resistor. Oh wait. Not easy. Wow. You get the general. There's a spacer down there. The screw goes in there. So now I've got to get Yeah, it's not a fiddly job, but let's get it in. A bit of satisfaction. Now then, push the screw. Right, that's the spacer on. Screw push through. We'll get a nut on it. Get the wafer back in. Now you see where the screw is, not an easy thing. Right, you see a space for the nut now. Pliers. Well, I managed to get it back on. Couldn't really do it to the camera. Top one hopefully is easier. Now the screw goes from the opposite side on this one. And it should be a bit easier. Okay. Space one here. Looks like we have to do this to all of the coil packs. Probably be next bit by the time we've done them all. Right. Short of a washer, there it is. I'm glad I got that cleaned up. I was in two minds whether to bother, and then I thought, well, if I do put it all back together and for some reason that causes a problem, then it's a lot of work to read. That's it. So, a quick look at it. I'm going to replace these resistors, I think. I'll go and find them. These cables, I've left them on just so I know which is which. These are the two blues, there's a black down here. This is apparently the yellow, which looks white, and this is the red. And on the diagram here, a good help here, it tells you red goes to R7, the blue pin 5 of valve 3, the yellow pin 3 of valve 4, the black's earth, and the other blue to C4. I've also written to R6, which is the resistor that goes onto the top cap of that valve. Right, there we go, that'll do for now. I'm going to change the resistors and get the values of these capacitors, see if I can find some new ones.